Hi, I'm Kim, and you're watching Kim Wilson TV. My channel is dedicated to helping victims of narcissistic abuse get free and stay free. If you're new to my channel, please visit Kim Wilson TV at YouTube. We have approximately 500 videos there on the topic of narcissism. Today we face a really significant challenge to not only keep the gaslighting down in our personal relationships, but it's also happening on a global scale. Now, one term that I hear quite frequently is the term conspiracy theory. So, first of all, what is a conspiracy theory? Well, let's break it down. A conspiracy is when a person or group conspires against another person or group, and I think we'd all agree that that happens regularly. I mean, that can happen in your home, that can happen in the workplace, and that most certainly happens on a global scale. Now, the word theory implies that it has not yet been proven, and I want to talk about that today. There is so much conflicting information, and this certainly will cause symptoms of gaslighting for anyone looking on. It's very hard to believe what's real and what isn't anymore. Now, a lot of it just sounds like absolute distraction. Look here, but there is something going on that I think is very important and could really help you and your family down the road if you pay attention and if you are not quick to dismiss things, especially when they're observable and obvious and happening in real time, as conspiracy theories. For anyone who's been at my channel for a while, you certainly know that I am a food prepper, I'm a canner, I dehydrate, I pickle and ferment food, and that was never because I was afraid of any sort of grave food shortage. That was because I wanted to ensure that my kids had wholesome food and I knew exactly what was in it. Now, when the thing started 3 years ago, I did put my food prepping and food storage, lifestyle maybe into hyperdrive. But I didn't do that because I'm a hoarder. I didn't do that only for my family. I did that concerned also about my neighbors and friends who may not have put food up. I've also noticed when discussing the potential for food crisis here on our planet, some people fully understand that that is a possibility at this time, and we'll explore that a little bit more in a minute. Others are making a minimal effort, and some people actually become freaked out, really enraged, really frightened at the prospect, and will not even discuss it, which I find to be extremely odd, meeting any conversation about potential food shortages with comments like, "You're crazy, that's a conspiracy theory." Now, if you're not familiar with the farming sector, well, you're just not familiar with the farming sector, and that certainly is, nothing to do with you. It's just not an area of expertise for you. So there are ways that you can check and see what global supplies are like right now. Now, of course, the Global Commodities Index is available for anybody to take a look at. And I will say, it's not looking good. It's looking really bad. Basic staples like beans, rice, wheat, corn, these things are running in very, very low supply these days. And in addition to that, when the whole world shut down for 3 years, you have to realize farming was shut down as well. So we are definitely behind schedule as far as generating the food supplies needed for this planet. There is also a radical increase in the production of highly processed chemical-heavy foods. This is almost celebrated. Many companies are putting out information about how they're 3D printing food, adding insects to the food, and all sorts of other things that you may not want to eat yourself or feed to your family. Food prices are extremely high, and I am really grateful to have a great deep freezer. So years ago when, the thing started, I recognized that there were going to be commodities that were going to double, triple, quadruple in price. So I was able to buy them a long time ago, have them properly stored, and be able to utilize them now. One example would be bags of wheat flour. Bags of wheat flour here in Mexico used to be 7 pesos. Now, I put away quite a bit, not just wheat flour, almond flour, coconut flour, rice flour, corn flour. I have quite a good selection of flour to make breads or other baked goods. But those same bags of flour now are 29, 39, and even 49 pesos versus the 7 pesos they were not long ago. For a long time, the mainstream media has been telling us that food prices are up 3% when we all know, well, anyone that can do basic math knows that they're really up 100, 200, 300, and worse in some cases percent. We're seeing inflation, we're seeing shrinkflation, and experts say we've barely seen the tip of the iceberg. Things could get much worse. So even if the statistics and facts from the Global Commodities Index are not enough to convince you that there are grave shortages in certain areas, certainly you've seen the price increases. Here in Mexico, we're what's known as a eat fresh daily sort of culture. Food preparation and food storage is unnecessary because it's hot and sunny 12 months of the year. People can grow food, and there is a constant abundance of fresh food. And with that said, farming was shut down here too, so there are deficits in some areas. Now, for me, it's very difficult to find things like mason jars, though I have found some. Dehydrators were a heck of an ordeal to get those in my house, but I was able to get 3. But for American or Canadian, you can go to any thrift store and find dehydrators in abundance and for very, very cheap. If you're not an expert on food preparation, canning, dehydrating, or fermenting, that's fine. YouTube is an absolute wealth of these topics. And I think for anyone in the healing process, sometimes you feel like you just don't know what to do to really improve the quality of your life or do something great for yourself. And dehydrating and fermenting are things that I really enjoy doing, and I think you'll have a lot of fun doing it. I've also made about 5 gallons of mango wine this year. It was an absolute bumper crop of mangoes. I've made mango jam, and I had a lot of fun doing those things. So whether or not you believe that famine is a possibility is irrelevant. What you can see yourself and what you're experiencing at the grocery store is radical price increases, and pretty steady, and all experts predict that things are going to get much worse before they get better. This video is not intended to frighten anyone. In fact, I hope it encourages you to start a new hobby. Food preparation is a great hobby for me. I make hand-infused seasoned salts. I make all my own spices. I grow and dry herbs. And these are things I love to do. And it's an easy place for people to start when they're considering some food preparation. If you're feeling stuck in your recovery and think a new hobby or interest might spur on some inspiration and passion, I strongly recommend you give it a try. Making jam is loads of fun. I've made tons of jam this year, pineapple, citrus, I've even done pineapple. And I've dehydrated over 1,000 tomatoes probably in the last month alone. I'm not creating any sort of financial burden on myself. I'm just doing what I can when I can. And fortunately, there's a lot of farmers in my area that will deliver to my house. So I am able to get farm fresh foods at quite a radically lower price than what the grocery store sells them for. So there are all sorts of creative and innovative ways that you too can start prepping. You can even go in on a volume purchase with friends or family to help offset cost. Food preparation and food storage has always been a hobby that I'm very passionate about, but in addition to that, I've certainly saved a tremendous amount of money. And it does not have to involve any fear or hysteria. It really is about doing what you can today to improve the quality of your life and maybe start up a new hobby that you end up very passionate about, as I have. I have a simple theory. It's better to be prepared and not need to be than not be prepared and have needed to be. Guys, I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this video today, and I hope you guys are all having a great narc-free day.